Konami has broken Shaddolls. They have goofed up. I think it's the best deck. It is really, really strong. We're going to go over the skill and we're going to go over the changes. Now, few notes. I'm going to go over this rather quick. So if anyone is missed and wants a full deck profile on Shaddoll, I'm going to link my video with the Shaddoll deck profile in the description below. Also, I have a Shaddoll guide on DLM, which I would like to update. That also describes the whole deck file, goes over every card in depth. If you would like to read that, I will leave that in the description below. On top of that, we are streaming tonight. Okay, so we're going to be opening a new box and more further than I already have, and stream more tonight. So if you don't want to miss that, then follow me on twitch.tv/ShowMeTry. If you're wondering why I'm not streaming now, it's because I have a war in the afternoon for semifinals, so I have to take care of that first. Okay, now that out of the way, let's go on to the Shaddoll deck profile, and then we'll go over the skill. So, first we're running 3 Leona, which just searches any Magistic spell or trap and adds it to your hand. You're adding your invocation. Now, about the Shaddoll monsters. The Shaddoll monsters have 2 different effects. One when they're sent to the graveyard by a card effect. Spoiler alert, if you fusion summon, except for Schism, because that's vanishing, you will always send to the graveyard by a card effect. So you don't have to ask that ever. Always sending to the graveyard by card effect. Now, Shaddolls have 2 different effects. One when they're sent to the grave by a card effect, and one when they're flipped. So, the flip effect of Wendy summons a Shaddoll in either face up or face down. When sent to the grave, summons one out of the deck. Hollow, when sent to the graveyard, mills cards among the different attributes that are on the field. So if you have 3 different attributes on the field, then you get to mill 3. Hollow's effect when flipped, send targets 1 monster in the field on your opponent's field. Send 1 monster with the same attribute from the extra deck to the graveyard. And then if you do banish it, you may say, well, Sean, I don't know what they're going to play. That's too much commitment. Well, I'm going to explain how the skill fixes Hollow in a nutshell and breaks it. Ariel is the newest one to our core, and I'm going to discuss her in depth. So, basically on flip, you get to target any of your banished Shaddoll monsters and summon it in face down or face up defense. And while that may seem situational off the bat, I'm going to tell you why it's not. Yes, Schism, you're banishing your Shadolls. So if you banish one of your fusions, it was summoned properly, banish it, replay it on the field. Also, Ariel, second effect. When sent to the graveyard by a card effect, she gets to banish up to 3 cards from either player's graveyards. So technically, you can even use her to banish one of your fusions, bring it back with Ariel later. Say you have a Resh, right? Let's say you have Resh Shaddoll Incarnation. What you can do is you can send Ariel from deck to graveyard, activate Resh, summon back Construct. I mean, not Construct. Excuse me. Let me go over this again, because I'm rushing. Let's say you have Ariel. So you summon a Construct out with your Schism. Schism sends Ariel. Ariel banishes another Construct in your graveyard. Activate Resh, summon back Ariel. Ariel brings back Construct when she's flipped. You could do that. Or you could just skip steps and summon back that Construct anyway. But it could be a cool way for you to get another body on the field if you wanted to do that already. But that's another way you could use it. Or if you're running multiple Ariel, which again, this is not completely optimized. We might play 2. And if you're running multiple Ariel, then you can summon Ariel out of the deck with, say, a Wendy, and then Wendy can bring back that banished Construct after you send another Ariel to the graveyard. So there's a lot of different interactions you can do with her. She's really good. Definitely want to play her in the deck. Now, you may say I only have 1 dragon, but I'm only running 1 because there's so little room in this deck now. But you can play multiple if you want. Dragon pops a back row when sent from by graveyard by card effect. On flip, will return a monster in the field to the hand. It does target. Very, very good. Squamata, when sent to the graveyard, is a Foolish Burial for any Shaddoll card. And when flip, will pop any monster in the field. Hedgehog, when flip, will add any Shaddoll spell or trap from deck to hand. When sent to the graveyard, adds any Shaddoll monster from deck to hand. Genius will negate any monster effect by targeting when sent from by card effect. When flip face up, will make any Shaddoll monster unaffected by monster effects this turn except its own. Hound, when flip face up, will add any Shaddoll card from graveyard to hand. When sent to graveyard, will flip any face down monster face up. Or not flip any face down, change the battle position of any monster. So if it's face down, it will flip it up. Kios is a random one. When flipped, can special summon a Shaddoll from hand. You don't have to play this, but it's good construct fodder if you don't want to make Artemis. Don't have to play this, you can play Second Dragon. It's sent to the graveyard by a card effect. Can send a Shaddoll monster from hand to graveyard. And if you do, for the rest of the turn, all monsters you control gain attack equal to the level of the monster sent times 100. So it could be a way to boost up in the mirror if you wanted to. Falco, on flip, will summon a Shaddoll from your graveyard and face down. When sent to the graveyard, will summon itself face down. Now, with one other clause about Shaddolls is you can only use one of their effects per turn. So if you use the effect when sent from deck, you can't use the flip effect in the same turn. So just keep that in mind. Shaddoll Fusion is broken. It fuses from the deck. It sends from the deck to the graveyard if your opponent controls a monster summoned out of the extra deck. Otherwise, it's just a generic fusion spell that can be recovered by any of your Shaddoll Fusions. Droplet is really broken because we're going +2 on the skill. I'm going to explain the skill in a bit. 3 L Shaddoll Fusion is basically a quick play fusion spell. Can help OTK. Fusion summons from hand or field, but really, really good. Magistus Invocation will fuse from hand or field, but that monster has to be a spellcaster. One of them that you fuse with has to be a spellcaster, so just keep that in mind. Yeah, really, really good. 3 Resh Shaddoll Incarnation. You're playing 3, and I'm going to explain why. Resh summons any Shaddoll from the graveyard, so really, really good on face-up or face-down defense. Really, really good, really easy to recover and abuse. And then 1 copy of Shaddoll Schism. This card is really, really broken. Also, with Resh, I want to go over one more thing. That's its on-field effect. Targets any Shaddoll, summons it face-up or face-down. While in the graveyard, you can banish this into another Shaddoll card to change the battle position of a monster, which is really, really good. Now, I know some of you see my older videos, but it gets a lot more broken with this. And 1 copy of Shaddoll Schism, because Shaddoll Schism is really, really good, because you get to use it to banish any amount of Shaddolls from the graveyard to fusion summon a Shaddoll monster, field or graveyard. So it's got Miracle Fusion, but it stays on the field permanently. Next, 3 L Shaddoll Construct. Now, the fusions all have the effect to add a Shaddoll card, either from deck or from graveyard. Cologne is the differentiator here. So, Construct, when sent to graveyard, will, let me go over the effects on the field first. So, on field, it takes a Shaddoll and the light. All the Shaddoll fusions take a Shaddoll and a specific attribute. Construct is light, so on summon, sends any Shaddoll from deck to graveyard. Also, when it battles a monster, a special summon monster, it can destroy it by its effect without having to destroy it in battle. Destroys it by its own effect. And then, third effect, as all the Shaddoll fusions have, except for Cologne. I'm not going to go over this for everyone. When sent to graveyard by any means, it can be sent directly out of the extra deck. Add any Shaddoll card from grave to hand. Add any Shaddoll spell trap, from grave to hand. So really, really good. You send your Construct, add your Schism, your Resh, your Shaddoll Fusion, your El Shaddoll, back from graveyard to hand. Instant grind game. Very, very good. Cologne has the ability that on summon will negate any effects of an opponent's monster. Now, keep in mind this is on special summon. It must be first fusion summon, as all extra deck monsters have to be. But on special summon, it will negate a monster's effect. Now, why do I say on special summon to be important? Because if you use Resh Shaddoll Incarnation, you can revive it and negate a card's effect. Not a monster, a card, permanently. So if you summon this back and they have Schism in the mirror, you can permanently turn off their Schism unless they summon it, unless they send it and get it back. So it's very important. That's a very important way to win the mirror match going second. You need to know to turn off their Schism at points. So very, very good at Cologne. Now, also, it cannot be destroyed in battle. That's another important thing. And the third effect is really, really strong. If this card is sent to the graveyard, any means necessary, add a Shaddoll card from either deck or graveyard. Now, keep in mind, this says card, and then discard a card. So, the discard is for an effect. So, if you add something like a Wendy, you can discard it, use its effect that turn, or any of your Shaddolls. Or you can just activate this, and add Schism to hand. That's also a way. So you don't have to go through the whole hedgehog nonsense if you don't want to do that. So, and it could be a cool way to play around effect failure as well. If you know they're like trying to avail it to negate your hedgehog, and then you want to search your Schism, then you can just fuse into this, link it off with the GravCon, get your Schism anyway. Next, we run 1 Goddess, 1 Moon. Moon is very nice because Moon can target a face-up monster and uses leak material, so Goddess can effectively get rid of 2. 1 Phoenix, 1 Grabcon, and 1 Artemis. Now, here is the disgusting skill. And the skill is called Reign of Shadows. Now this skill is disgusting. It's really, really good. It is shadow weaving power, but way more buffed. So you can only use this skill second effect once per duel. At the beginning of the duel, add 6 Shaddoll monsters to your extra deck. So that's already really good. Winda, Construct, Krista, Shekinaga, Wendigo, and Annihilatalus all go in the extra deck. So again, I'm going to go over the other effects really, really fast. Grista can negate an Inherent Summon by discarding a Shaddoll. So if you discard a Shaddoll card, you can negate like a Synchro Summon, Exceed Summon. They summon like an Envoy at the beginning. You can negate that. Whatever. Shekinaga, we already had in the game, but Shekinaga, they summon a Shaddoll, a special summon a monster, and they activate the effect with that special summon monster. Then you can negate the effect and destroy it. So, a special summon monster's effect activates, negate it, and destroy it as long as you discard Shaddoll. Wendigo is, cannot be, targets 1 special summon monster, cannot be destroyed in battle. Oh no, any monster cannot be destroyed by battle by a special summon monster this turn, so that's pretty good if you're getting it for free. Also, was played to Outbirds with Schism. And then a brand new one, Anonymous, which is okay, but it's still worth noting. Takes a Shaddoll in the water. Neither player can special summon monsters from hand or graveyard with spell card effects or trap effects. So, random matchups like Dragon Maid, this might come up because they can't use Hospitality or they can't use Tidying Engraved to revive. So, maybe something like that this comes up, but other than that, this is not really that great. So this one takes Shaddoll, this one takes a water, this one takes a wind, Sheki takes an earth, Grista takes a fire. But that's the beginning of the skill. Then send 3 Shaddoll normal traps from deck to grave. So automatically all 3 Resh go to the graveyard, which is really broken. So all 3 of your Reshes to the graveyard. Second effect. Now that's already a buff to the skill, as it is. So you're already getting the add to the extra deck. And you're getting the traps in the grave. So the fact that it already adds the extra deck is already a buff, pretty much, to what the original skill had. But it gets better. Reveal 2 Shaddoll cards in your hand. Add 1 Shaddoll card from deck to hand. That is incredible. It's a +1. Whether you're going first or second, you get +1. So if you're going first, and let's say you have Shaddoll, any 2 Shadolls, a spell, a trap, 2 fusion, and a monster, and you're lacking the 3rd monster, you now got the 3rd piece. If you have 2 fusions, you can even add Wendy. Set Wendy, flip it with Resh, summon another monster, make App Clone, get Schism, and then you get Schism, and then you already have access to that. So that's incredible. So it already gets you access to Schism, even through a brick. So, or even summon that monster with Wendy, right? Summon the monster out of the deck, and then link off in the Construct, use Construct's effect, and then do your dirty work that way. And then you can get it that way. So you have a lot of ways to get going. It is ridiculous. It even helps you out through the brick so much. So the old adage of Shaddoll bricking is kind of out the window now. This deck does not brick anymore. It's not bricky. It is very, very strong and very, very consistent now. So, and then if that wasn't enough, your 3rd part of the skill makes this insane. If your opponent only controls a monster, play Shaddoll from your deck, battle position can be changed and face down. So you already got all the benefits of the Salamangreat skill. This is basically the Salamangreat skill for Shaddolls. So if you already have they have a monster, you could set Hollow from the deck. But wait, Hollow sends a monster from the extra deck to the graveyard. Since your fusion sent, you can Hollow, banish their monster, then use your Shaddoll in the graveyard, fusion, add back Resh, and then you have another plus on top of it. Ridiculous, and guarantee Shaddoll Fusion going second, which is nuts. Now your opponent has to fear Shaddoll Fusion going second. They're not going to want to make their big bad extra deck monsters, and you're just going to end their life entirely. So, that's the deck profile. On to the replays.
What you invest in your employees, they give back to you. So help them explore where their career...
Yes, so YouTube, this deck is cracked. It is really good. We're at a 90% win rate at the moment. I'll show you it. So way people don't question me. There's the loss. So there you go. You can kind of see currently we're at the 90% win rate. This deck slaps. Go check it out. Go test this deck out. Again, 2 Shaddoll Fusions enough. We're going to be playing it tonight. I cannot stress this enough. So make sure you're there live on stream so I can help you out and I can teach you the deck if you need help with it. And feel free to ask any questions. I had comments on stream, whatever. And yeah, until next time, it's your boy Show 'em a Try. Signing out. Bye, YouTube. Maybe like, comment, sub.